Hello everyone, welcome back to the session today. So like every day I'm going to start with the status of the online assessment, the mock assessment that you have been taking. So let me take you through yesterday's report. So yesterday there were 70 assessments that were taken. Now out of these 70, only there were 3 assessments which were related to Capgemini. Please understand, the Capgemini drive is over. It's not going to happen again. All right. All the 13 districts have been covered for Capgemini. So if you practice on Capgemini, it's not going to help you. So please focus on Infosys. Now, only 70 assessments have been taken as far as Infosys is concerned, out of which 67 assessments, 67 out of 70, remaining 3 were from Capgemini. So out of 67 assessments that were taken, 54 are only valid, which means 13 assessments, if I have to look at the percentage, so almost 20% of the assessments were invalid because you did not submit, all right? Either you did not submit or you did not submit the answers or follow the right procedure. Out of these 54 valid assessments that we had, 33 are aptitude and 21 are verbal, which is a fairly good number. If I have to take you through the entire report of the assessment, so here it is. So whatever you see here, if the duration is anywhere, I'm just going to magnify this a little bit. You see the duration field. If the duration is 0 or blank, obviously it becomes invalid. That means the time is not spent. This any duration which is over and above 0 obviously will become a valid assessment. So I'm going to quickly show you what is the highest number, who is the person who has taken highest number of assessment. All right. So let me quickly create the report for you. I'm doing this on everyday basis so that you understand how important this is, and we have been tracking on daily basis. All right, here we go. All right, Sunanda, student by name Sunanda. I'm going to quickly check which college she is from. She is from Pragati Degree College. So Sunanda has taken the highest number of assessment, which is 6, followed by Yasmin. I think she's the same person who called the other day. Again, Pragati Degree College, 5 assessments. Nagajyoti Swarupa, Pragati Degree College again. Nikhilesh, he's from the BCA background from Vizag. The college name is not mentioned. Jyotsna Devi, she is also from Pragati Degree College. So these are the count, if I may magnify this a bit. So these are the counts. So if you total it, this comes to 54. So total of 54 assessments, valid assessments that has been recorded. This includes verbal ability as well as aptitude. Now if I have to look at the count of the number of colleges that participated, so number of students is 27. So imagine 27 students have taken a total of 54 assessments, and these 27 students are from which college? Let me quickly get that information as well. So 27 students from a total of 7 colleges. All right, here we go. 27 students from a total of 7 colleges, the highest being Pragati Degree College, 29 assessments from just one college, which is almost 50%. 53.7%. So imagine more than 50% of the assessments are from just one college. The count has to go up. Please remember, all this assessment tool has been created only for your benefit. So please make the best use of it. I'm going to quickly take you through the tool again so that you are not confused how to participate in these mock assessments. Just give me one moment. Okay, here we go. So you know the link pretty well. It's apssdc2.mooo.com/campuschamps. You log into the page and once you come here, go to assessment. In assessment, you will see at least 4 folders for you. Go to Infosys quantitative aptitude. You will see 10 assessments listed here. Okay, there are 10 assessments. Each assessment will have a set of 30 questions. So I'm going to one particular assessment 7. I go to details. Here I have all the 30 questions. The layout is nicely made. So now this is okay. All right. So you see there are a total of 30 questions. Okay, you can go to any particular question the way you want, but I would prefer you go from the beginning. So when you select an answer, if you are very sure about it, click on Save and Next. So I go to question number 2. If I am not very sure about the answer, I will say Mark for Review and Next, because I am not very sure. Question 3, I do not know the answer, I will answer it later, so I click on Skip. Question 4, I know the answer but I am not very sure, so I say Mark for Review and Next. Question 5, I am sure about it, so I say Save and Next. The moment I say Save and Next, this will turn green, which means it has been answered. Wherever you see the blue tile against the question, you can go back to that question. It means it has been marked for review, so you say Save and Next so that the answer gets recorded. Question 3 has been skipped, it's not even answered, so I'm answering it, saying Save and Next. Question 4 was not answered, so I say Save and Next. The moment I say Save and Next, the question tile will turn green. That's how it works. Once all the questions are answered, I'll reach the bottom of the screen. I will click on Submit Assessment, and I can go to Scorebook. In Scorebook, it says show 10 entries. If you want more number of entries, you can change it. You can say 25 entries, so you can keep scrolling down. But you may not be able to find your latest test that you have submitted. So best way is to click here, double click. It will change from ascending to descending. Today the date is 21st. For some reason it's not showing up, but it will show the updated result here. You can click on View Paper, and here you can see which answer is correct, which answer is incorrect, and what the questions are which you did not even attempt. It's as simple as that. So the moment you submit the assessment, the score gets recorded. So please remember it that way. All right. I'm going to open up the lines now. Whatever questions you have in terms of the mock assessment tool, please feel free to call and ask your questions. As far as the Infosys verbal ability is concerned, I will quickly tell you things that you need to pay attention to. As far as the pattern is concerned, we are well aware of the written test pattern. You will have aptitude and verbal ability. Aptitude or analytical skills, you will have quantitative aptitude and reasoning, 30 questions that needs to be answered in 40 minutes. Verbal ability, you will have 40 questions that needs to be answered in 30 minutes. Once you qualify this, you will move over to the next round, which is interview round, where you will have technical round as well as HR round. Aptitude, your questions will be from these areas: data interpretation, syllogism, data sufficiency, problems on trains, time and work, permutations and combinations, number series, coding and decoding, and puzzles. And verbal ability, we have finished these. I am doing the repeat so that you understand it better. So whatever questions you have in any of these areas, please feel free to call. Unless you call, I will not know if you need help. So the areas where verbal ability questions will come from would be critical reasoning and theme detection, fill in the blanks, sentence correction, and reading comprehension. You may get 2 paragraphs for reading comprehensions, which 5 questions each. Okay. For practice purpose, you can download these 2 apps from Google Play Store, Pocket Verbal Ability and Pocket Aptitude. These are how the screens look like. Okay, so I think that's fairly simple. So let's move on to fill in the blanks and sentence correction area. Today we're going to look at some examples of sentence correction. Now before we go forward, in order to be successful in sentence correction, you really need to work on your grammar. You need to have proper understanding of the structure of the sentence in terms of subject-verb agreement, in terms of singular and plural forms, in terms of adjective forms, adverb forms, and verb forms. The most important aspect being tense and verb form. So please keep that in mind. If you want me to repeat certain aspect of grammar, I'll do that. But I need to know which area you need help on. Lines are open already, so please feel free to call and ask questions. Let's look at the first question here in terms of sentence correction. There may be some questions which does not need any correction whatsoever. In that case, you will choose option E, which says no correction required. So the first question says, the small child does whatever his father was done. You cannot say father was done. When you say was done, that means it's a task, but here we are talking about a noun, a person, not a task. For example, the correction was done. For example, the task was done, the activity was done, the bank account opening process was done. So a verb, a task can be said was done, but a person cannot be denoted like that because it's a noun. So the small child does whatever his father was done. That is incorrect. The correct form is whatever his father does. Basically, it's a rhetorical statement when we say kids learn from parents. So whatever the father does, the child does. And the form of this sentence is present tense. That's why it will retain the entire form. Moving on to question 2. The lines are open. Please feel free to call. You need not come unless you want to. That's a statement. You need not come unless you want to. Grammatically, it may be incorrect. In terms of understanding, it may be conveying the right meaning, but grammatically does not make sense. The reason people make mistakes in terms of grammar, it's mainly because of transliteration or literal translation. For example, when we speak in any language other than English, we speak in certain way. And when we speak in English, we do a direct translation from that language to English, which does not convey the right meaning. All right. There are quite a few common examples. The most common example is what is your good name? We always ask what is your good name. The reason we ask what is your good name, now answer is there is no good name or bad name. When somebody asks me what is your good name, I tell them that I'm sorry, I don't have a bad name. So what do you mean by good name and bad name? The good name comes from 2 areas. Transliteration again. Number 1 is in Hindi or some other language, we ask aapka shubh naam kya hai? Shubh naam means the name that you mention on your certificate. For example, your name could be say Srinivas, but at home they call you Sinu or Srinu. Everybody has a pet name at home, right? Then how do we differentiate what is the name that is used at home, what do your friends call you as, and what is the actual name which is the official name? That's why in Indian language we ask what is your good name, but in English language you cannot do that. So you do a transliteration, it may not convey the right meaning. So that's why most of the grammatical errors happens in English, because we do a literal translation. Another example is when we speak about a person who passed away as expired. A person cannot expire, medicine can expire, a perishable food can expire, but a human being cannot expire, they pass away. Another example is pass out from the college. Pass out in English language means falling unconscious, fainting. When people are weak, low BP, they faint, right? That fainting is called pass out in English language. But we always say I passed out in 2015. That means something was wrong with you health wise. So you got to say I graduated in the year 2015 or 2016. Instead of using the word graduated, people use pass out. Again, that is not the right way of talking. So when we look at this particular question, you need not come unless you want to. It could be grammatically correct, it could be grammatically incorrect. Let's look at the option. You don't need to come unless you want to. You come only when you want to. Now when I say when, it's about the time. The question is not about the time, it's about the willingness, whether I want to go or not. Option B is talking about when do I want to go. The question of when does not arise, because the first point is do you want to go or not. You come unless you don't want to. You need not come until you don't want to. Now this is an absolutely incorrect statement. Number D grammatically does not make sense. So the correct answer is of course A. You don't need to come unless you want to. You need not come unless you want to it's grammatically it may not be conveying the right sentence. So the most appropriate one and the most accurate one from these choices are you don't need to come unless you want to. Moving on to the next question. There are not many men who are so famous that they are frequently referred to by their short names only. There are not many men who are so famous that they are frequently referred to by their short names only. The options are initials, signatures, pictures, middle names. Now short name cannot be picture, short name cannot be a middle name, short name cannot be signature also. So it has to be initials. What do we mean by initial? Say for example there was a president called John F. Kennedy, alright. So a lot of people refer to him as JFK. Likewise, the Honorable Chief Minister is referred as CBN, right? So initials is a right word for short names. There cannot be a short name, it's initials in this particular case. So let's look at the question. There are not many men who are so famous that they are, I'm reading the question. There are not many men who are so famous that they are frequently referred to by their short names only. So the correct option here is initials, because signatures you cannot call a person with a signature or a picture or with a middle name. Of course, it is initials. Next, he never has and ever will take such strong measures. That means neither he did in the past nor he is going to do it in the future. He never has and ever will take such strong measures. The options: he never had taken nor will ever take. Nor will who? So that is not valid. He never had taken and will ever take such strong measures. He never has and never will take such strong measures. He never had and ever will take such strong measures. So here the answer, I don't know why, earlier also I wanted to discuss about this. I need to change this answer. The reason I added the he form because the pronoun is missing. He never had taken nor he will ever take such strong measures. Now before nor, it's one part of the sentence, he never had taken. After nor, it's the second part of the sentence, so the pronoun repeat is required. That's why I have added that. All right. Moving on to next question. Technology must use to feed the forces of change. What seems to be the problem? Now, technology must use. There is a word missing here. Okay. What is that word? Technology must be used. Now, if you remove the word be, what difference does it make? I'll quickly show you an example. If I say he must speak confidently. So when I say he must speak confidently, that means this task is performed by he. I can replace the he with a name. So instead of a name, instead of a noun, I used a pronoun. Vijay must speak confidently. I can use a pronoun here and I can say he must speak confidently. When I say just the word must, that means right before that the doer, the action, whoever is doing the action is mentioned. But here in this question, it says technology must use. The technology must use to feed the forces to change. Now, how can technology use something? Technology is something which can be used. For example, if I have to give you another example here. Okay, the first one says he must speak confidently. That means the doer is the noun. So when the doer is noun, the be is not required. Here it says the pen must be used to write properly. Now, who is using the pen? Pen is just a device. The pen is not the doer. The doer is a person, whoever is using the pen. So when you use be, the be is used for the device or the medium, not the doer. When the doer is mentioned, be is not required. All right. So if I have to show you this example, technology must use to feed. Technology cannot do anything in itself. Somebody has to use it. That's why we say technology must be used to feed the forces of change. All right. I hope this is fairly clear. In case if you're not able to understand, please call. Otherwise, I'll keep going nice and slow. Next question. Anyone interested in the use of computers can learn much if you have access to personal computer. Now, the question here, this part of the entire question, I'm so sorry. Anyone interested in use of computers can learn much. When I say everyone, I am not referring to the second person you. First person is I, second person is you, third person is he or she. When my question statement itself is about anyone, how can I use second person here? This is third person. Second person cannot come here, which means I need to change it. And I need to change it as he or she, third person again. Anyone is always, remember, anyone, someone, no one is always considered as singular. So I can't use a plural form here. Okay. Access can be available. If access can be available, no, this is grammatically incorrect. I am talking about a third person singular form. I again need to use a third person singular form. Anyone interested in use of computers can learn much if he or she has access to a personal computer. All right. It cannot be one of them. I am not talking about a single person here. Next question. They are not beware of all the facts. I have covered this earlier. I will explain this again. When I say beware, the word beware is used when I am talking as first person to second person. I can use beware. Please beware of the dangers of rash driving. First person to second person, when I am talking, I can use this. But in this case, I cannot use they are not beware of. I am talking about a third person. I am stating it's a statement. So I will say they are not aware of. When you have the word aware, it cannot be for, it's aware of. You cannot say aware for, it's always aware of. You cannot say they are not to be aware, that is also incorrect grammatically. Must not be aware for, again grammatically incorrect. So the most accurate statement or option here grammatically is they are not aware of. Next, we cannot always convey ourselves in simple sentences. Now, do we need a correction here? Let's look at it. We cannot always convey ourselves in simple sentences. We can not always express, we cannot always express, we can not always communicate. Now, when you are conveying a message, you are basically expressing yourself. All right. So, can and not cannot be two separate words. It has to be a combined word. That's why option C is the correct answer. We cannot always, we cannot say we cannot. We need to say we cannot always express ourselves in simple sentences. All right. So please be careful that there are certain words which is used as a separate word as well as compound word. For example, every time. Now I can use it together, I can use it with a space. Both will convey a different meaning. Okay. For example, every time I go to the clerk, he refuses to listen. Now here I am using the space because I am conveying every single time. It rains every time across the winter means non-stop. So I am using the space to denote a different meaning. All right. Some common mistakes that people do, for example, in terms of spelling, someone, everyone. It's nothing called no one. A lot of people say no one. No one knew. When the drive is scheduled. This is incorrect. No one knew when the drive is scheduled. It is none knew when the drive is scheduled. So, someone, everyone, none. That's a word. Everyone here I am using as one sentence, one word. I can use it with a space. Okay. So there can be various forms depending on the context of the sentence. Clear? So cannot always express ourselves in simple sentences. Moving on. What does agonize me most is not this criticism, but the trivial reason behind it. Agonize me means create discomfort. Trivial means petty. What does agonize me most is not this criticism, but the trivial reason behind it. Options: what most agonizing me. Now when I say what, I need to add what is most agonizing me. So even if I do that, it's still grammatically incorrect. What agonizes me most is not the criticism, but the trivial reason behind it. So that's the correct option. What agonizes me most is not the criticism, but the trivial reason behind it. I'll give you an example. What pains me the most, what irritates me the most. So when I use a verb, I am using an S form. So what agonizes me most is not this criticism, but the trivial reason behind it. So likewise, we have quite a few more examples. I'm going to take a quick short break. Post break, we will look at some more examples of sentence correction. In order to be accurate in terms of sentence correction, like I said, you really need to focus on grammar forms, practice a lot. We finished grammar session, but in case if you want to repeat, I can do that to an extent, whatever is possible, but practice is what is required more. We'll take a quick break, come back, and we'll start again. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. We are doing sentence correction and sentence improvement. So I'm going ahead with some more examples for you. Here's the next one. As there was no time, the remaining items were deferred into the next meeting. Now, looking at the question itself, you cannot defer into something. There's a different form. So let's look at the options. As there was no time, the remaining items are deferred till, were deferred till, were deferred to, had deferred with. Now you cannot say deferred with or deferred to. The correct form is deferred till, which means till when it has been deferred or postponed. Now the question itself is in past tense, as there was no. Was is a past tense. So we have deferred till correct option between A and B. Since we are talking about past tense, it has to be B, which is were. It cannot be are because are is present tense. So we'll pick deferred, were deferred till, hence B is the correct answer. Alright, moving on. The man who has committed such a serious crime must get the most severe punishment. Mostly severe punishment. We cannot use the term mostly here. Mostly means most likely or most probably. But here it's the utmost, means the highest degree of punishment. So mostly severe is not correct. It has to be most severe. That's why we'll pick B. The man who has committed such a serious crime must get the most severe punishment. Mostly is used as most likely or most probably. For example, I can say the drive will be conducted mostly in the end of the month or beginning of January. So most likely or most probably is replaced as mostly. Now mostly severe is not the correct form. It has to be most severe. Next question. For many centuries in Indian history, there was no city so famous like the city of Ujjain. I am saying that city of Ujjain is the most famous, but across the all the centuries of Indian history, no other city could reach the fame like city of Ujjain did. So like the city of Ujjain, I am saying, when I say like, it means similar. But here I am saying Ujjain is the most famous. So I will say as. For many centuries in Indian history, there was no city no city so famous as the city of Ujjain. When I say like, I mean equal. Okay. Next, we don't know how did the thief made an escape. We don't know how did the thief made an escape. Now, did the thief is not correct, the thief. So how the thief did make an escape, how the thief does make an does is a present form, how the thief made an escape, how was the thief made. Now thief was not made, the escape was made, right? Hence the correct form is C, how the thief made an escape. While we are talking about this form, there is one important aspect I want to talk about, which is did not, didn't. Both these forms are past tense, right? When you have a past tense form like this, your verb should be present tense. For example, I didn't do it. What is the past tense of do? Did. I cannot say I didn't did it. No, I didn't do it. Likewise, he didn't go. I cannot say He didn't went. This is incorrect. So let me illustrate this a little more better manner. He didn't know about the news. So didn't is past tense, know is present. Okay. So didn't is past tense. When didn't is past tense, the verb know is the verb about the news. The verb will become the present tense. So remember, verb should be present tense if you are using this form, did not or didn't. For example, I didn't know. You can't say I didn't knew. This is wrong. It's always I didn't know. I didn't eat. You can't say I didn't ate. You will say I, some more example I am giving you. I didn't buy the book. You cannot say I didn't bought the book. Now talking about bought, let me remove this. Okay, talking about bought, there is another word which is brought, and we have bought. What is the difference? One thing which is common is they are past form. Then what is the present form? The present form of brought is bring, and the present form of bought is buy. So please remember, the only difference is the letter R. If you bring R, it becomes bring. For example, let me remove this. I brought my lunch box today, which means bring. It's there and I brought it. When I say I bought my lunch box today, it means I bought it means purchased it. Brought means తీసుకో వచ్చారు. I think that's a Telugu word. BROUGHT. Bought means buying. I don't know what do you call buying in Telugu. Sir, what do we call buying in Telugu? Camera person. What do we call buying in Telugu? Can somebody come here and tell me? Sorry? Okay. So bought is purchasing or buying konadam, and brought is తీసుకో వచ్చారు. That's what we say, he has brought it. So that's the difference. Just one letter makes a big difference in terms of the meaning of the word. So you got to be very careful. All right. Let's continue here. We don't know how did the thief made an escape, how the thief did make an escape, how the thief does make an escape, how the thief made an escape. We don't know. This is a present form, so my verb is past form. Moving on to the next question. Later he became unpopular because he tried to lord it on his followers. What do we mean by lord it on? Means force. You force people to follow something. Later he became unpopular because he tried to lord it on his followers. You don't lord it on someone, you lord it over someone. So that's why lord it on is incorrect, lord it over is correct. These are examples of preposition. You got to be careful which preposition is used where. I'm going to give you some examples of prepositions now. We are doing a little bit of grammar as well as answering these questions. Say for example, from versus till. Okay, I'm going to make it a cap form. From versus since. When should we use from? When should we use since? Now, from is a preposition which denotes time and place as well. For example, I want to from Hyderabad to Vizag. When I say I want to travel from Hyderabad to Vizag, these are places. So, from, it denotes preposition in terms of place. If I have to denote it in terms of time, I can say the doctor will be available from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. Now, you will realize one thing, the moment I use the from form, it means there is a start and there is an end. So, the difference between from and since is when we use the from form in terms of time, there has to be a start and there has to be an end. But when we use the since form, there need not be an end time. For example, I had been living in Hyderabad since 12 years. That means I am still living. I had been living in Hyderabad since 2004. Means the start time is there, but there is no end time. That's the difference between from and since. A word can be used in different forms. A same word can have different parts of speech. You got to be very careful in terms of the usage. Most importantly, in terms of the preposition. All right. Okay, let's move forward. So, when we have the question like later he became unpopular because he tried to lord it on, no, it should be lorded over his followers. All right. The lines are open, so you can still call and ask questions. The crops are dying, it must not had rained. Now, I cannot use the had form here, it should be the have form. It must not have rained. I am stating this in terms of my assumption. Had is a past tense which is a definite form, and have is also past tense, but here the context is assumption. It must not have rained, that's why the crops are dying. Okay. So, just because the what I denote in terms of the context of the sentence changes, the word is also changing. The courts are actively to safeguard the interest and the rights of the poor. Now, when I use the ly form, we saw that example in most. Okay. Let me give that example here. Most, mostly, active, actively. Active is a noun or an adjective. It can be noun, it can be adjective as well. Actively is an adverb. Okay. What do we mean by adverb? For example, he is running. This running is verb. So, I am going to underline this. He is running fast. Now this underlined word fast becomes adverb. If you look at the question says the courts are actively to safeguard. I cannot use an adverb here, okay, it has to be an adjective, okay. That's why I will choose the form active. The courts are actively to safeguarding. No, the courts have been actively safeguarding. It could be correct because safeguarding, when I bring the present continuous form, then I can use actively. The court have to be active in safeguarding, or the courts are actively in safeguarding is also incorrect. The correct form is option B. The courts have been actively safeguarding. When I say to safeguard means it's a noun, here I am using a tense and verb form safeguarding. So when I use a verb, I am adding an adverb here. Clear? Moving on to the next question for you. The drama had many scenes which were so humorous that it was hardly possible to keep a straight face. Keep a straight face basically means not to laugh. The drama had many scenes which were so humorous that it was hardly possible to keep a straight face. It was hardly possible means it was impossible not to laugh. Keep a straight face means not to laugh. Hardly possible to keep means it was barely possible, it was impossible to keep a straight face. In this case, we don't need any kind of correction because the sentence itself is grammatically accurate. Alright, moving on. Hardly does the sun rise when the stars disappeared. Now when I use the word disappeared, it's a past tense. This is a usual thing. So I am talking about continuous present tense here, the present tense here, the absolute present tense, which means this is not going well. I need to replace that. How do I replace? Hardly have the sun rose when the stars disappeared. Hardly had the sun risen when the stars disappeared. Hardly did the sun rose when the stars disappeared. Hardly the sun rose when the stars disappeared. Now sun is risen because it's a regular phenomena. That's why we'll use the risen form here. Alright. Next, you will be late if you do not leave now. You will be late if you do not leave now. Options: you will be late if you did not leave now. Now did not becomes past tense. I am saying you will be late means it's going to happen very soon. You will be late if you left now. Obviously it's not correct. You will be late if you will not leave now. Not really grammatically accurate. You will be late if you do not happen to leave now. Very long sentence. So no correction required because this is perfectly fine. Even if you replace the do not with don't, you will be late if you don't leave now is perfectly fine. But we don't have that option. That's why we'll pick no correction required. The train will leave at 8:30 p.m. We have been ready by 7:30 p.m. so that we can reach the station in time. I've already given you the example of in time and on time. Let me do that all over again. In time, on time. What's the difference? If the meeting is at 8 p.m., in time will be 7:45 p.m. On time will be 8 p.m. That's the difference. In time means a little ahead of the time. On time means exactly on the dot of time. So for an interview, you should always be in time, not on time. Alright. The train will leave at 8:30 p.m. We have been ready by 7:30 p.m. so that we can reach the station in time. I am talking about a future tense here. The train will leave at 8:30. we have been ready by 7:30, which means we should be or we must be. We must be ready by 7:30 p.m. so that we can reach the station in time. Clear? Moving on. Ramesh is as tall, if not taller than Mahesh. What does it mean? Ramesh is as tall, if not taller than Mahesh. Means Ramesh and Mahesh are of the same height. In case if there is a height difference, it cannot be possible that Ramesh will be shorter than Mahesh. That is what the statement means, but you need to correct it. Ramesh is as tall, if not taller than Mahesh. Ramesh is not as tall but taller than Mahesh. Ramesh is not so tall but as taller than Mahesh. Ramesh is as tall as, if not taller than Mahesh. Ramesh is as if not. So, as if not is not correct. So, of course, option C is the correct form. Ramesh is as tall as, if not taller than Mahesh. If we remove the if not part, it becomes one complete sentence. That is why we pick this option to make it grammatically accurate. Alright. Let us look at couple of more examples. He hesitated to listen to what his brother was saying. He hesitated to listen to what his brother was saying. The options: he listened to hesitate. You never listen to hesitate, you always hesitate to listen, right? He hesitated, listened to, incorrect. He hesitates to listening, incorrect. He is hesitated to listen to, no, you cannot say he is hesitated, alright. So, it's he hesitated to listen to is the correct form. Grammatically it is accurate, we do not need any correction here. Moving on to the next one. The prosecution failed in establish in every case today. The prosecution failed in establish. If I use establishing, then in may be appropriate, but in is a wrong word here. The prosecution failed to establish in every case. If I have to change now, it is more accurate. The prosecution failed in establish evidence in every case, that is incorrect. The prosecution failed to establish evidence in every case today. Next one. One of my drawback is that I do not have to tolerance of ambiguity. You cannot use the word do not have to, it just do not have or I do not have, okay. I do not have or do not have, the to is not required, it is a redundancy, it will create grammatically incorrect sentence. Next example, the easiest of all the thing to do is to ask the address to the postman. Now, the question itself says the easiest of all the thing. Now, imagine I am talking about multiple things here. I have done this example earlier, but I am doing it again for your benefit. One, two, three. There are 3 blocks here. Okay, so we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 12 blocks here, correct? Now, one of the block is in a different color. So, let me change the color of this. So, what do I say? One of the blocks, this is one block and these are the blocks. So, I say one of the blocks, or let me remove these 3, it will be easier for me to write. So I say one of the blocks is red. Can I say one of the block? One of the, how many are there? 6, which means one from many. When I use many plural form, I need to add an S. One of the blocks is red, which means one block from all the blocks is red. Okay. Now I will use the is form because the subject is one. The subject is not blocks. Subject verb agreement. So this is a singular verb. I will use singular form here. Sorry, singular noun. I will use singular verb here. Likewise, in this example, the easiest of all the thing, no, the easiest of the things, we have the plural form here. That's why I will pick option 1 or option A. The easiest of the things to do is to ask the address of the postman. Whenever I say easiest of one from many, the many has to have the plural form. That's why things has the plural form. Clear? So I hope this was helpful in terms of understanding how to solve these questions on sentence correction. Please do focus on grammar and please do practice as much as possible. Just 70 assessments in a day is little less. So please spend more time. The more you practice, it's better for you. I'm still not getting calls. I'm not sure why. So whatever questions you have, please do call and ask your questions so that I can help you as much as possible. We don't have the dates for Infosys so far, but it's a promise. The moment we get to know, APSSDC will convey the information to all the colleges. Plus, I will also inform you about the dates and whatever more is required in terms of your preparation, that will be done for you. All right. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Meanwhile, if you have any particular questions, you want me to repeat something, feel free to write an email to me and I shall take care of that. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.